Now that you know the fundamentals of Flexbox, let's finally start adding Flexbox to our Blockbox project. Now let's start with the navigation and the heading. We want these two elements to be appear in the sideways. That is like this, taking the main header, putting the display to flex. Add a few small changes like container width will be 1200 pixels, and also select the nav and display it to flex and keep the line items to center. And also if I remove this, as you can see, the align items will be centered, but there will be a space between them. So use justify content, and the extra space will be taken by the space between using the justify content. Now we want the author information appear side by side with the image. So we have an image and a paragraph, and we need their parent element to become the flex container. However, the existing parent contains several other elements too. If we simply make the parent a flex container, all these elements would become flex items. That isn't what we want. So we'll create a new element that will be the parent of only the image and paragraph. We'll use simply a div because we don't need any special semantic meaning. And notice like this. And in the div, I'm creating a class. It should be not here. And it should be above the image. And I'm creating an class that is nothing but for box. Now the other box becomes our flex container, and selecting it here. Yes, for box. And saying putting the display to flex. Okay. I'm also keeping this after the paragraph actually. Okay, now the paragraph and the image are appear to be side by side. Now we can easily vertically center them and say line items to center. However, we notice that the alignment isn't quite right. The reason is that some old margins are still affecting the element. This is common when we are converting an existing layout, just removing the up to margin bottom and keeping it as 0. So now let's add some space margin, giving 15 pixels. These are author. By giving this as an not a class. Now we added some space below the entire author box. Margin bottom to an 15 pixels. Now the author section looks much cleaner. Now let's move to the related post section. Each related post currently contains an image, a link, and a paragraph. But what we really do was the text, image, link, and paragraph that should be side by side. Image should be on the left, and the links and the paragraph should be grouped together on the right. So now let's give each li elements a class. It's nothing but soft related post, just copying this whole thing, giving the anchor tags also a class, giving related link. Doing this, I'm giving it to each anchor tag. As the paragraph already has a class called related author, I'm just leaving it as it is. For selecting the related post, setting the display to flex. Yeah, now we have a problem. All three elements become the flex items like text, image, link, and paragraph. That's not what we want. We want the image to be one flex item and the link and the paragraph to be inside the another box. So we need to wrap the link and the paragraph inside a new div element. Is div here. Similarly, I'm doing for all this. Now the related post has only two direct flex items. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we can easily vertically center these two items. That is line items to center. Okay. Now the image and the content box are now vertically aligned. However, once again, some old margins are affecting the layout. The paragraphs has a bottom margin from earlier CSS. The related author, I'm giving margin bottom to 0. So while we are here, let's also style the related author. The margin bottom to 0. While we are here, let's also style the related author. I'm giving the size 14 pixels and also font weight to normal. Also font style private. That's better. Now let's style the related links. So select the link pseudo class. Giving the font size 17 pixels. So font weight to bold. Font style to normal. We also want some space below the link. Come to 5 pixels. The margin doesn't appear to work. The reason is that an Anchor element is an inline element by default. Vertical margins such as margin top and margin bottom does not work for the way we want on the inline elements. So we need to change the link into an block level element. So before that, I'm changing it to display block. Now the spacing was correctly. Finally, let's add some space between the image and the content box. There are several ways we could do this. So adding margin to the image, we could select the image and add the margin right. And another way is adding the margin to the content box. We could select the box containing the link and the paragraph and add the margin left. Gap property on the Flex container. We could use gap to 20 pixels. Automatically creates 20 pixels of space between the Flex item. This is much cleaner than manually adding margins. We could also add some space below each related post. This margin bottom to 30 pixels. This creates space between the individually related posts. We also need to make sure that the last port does not have an unnecessary bottom space. Fortunately, we already have styling that targets the last child and remove its bottom margin. That post the last child and that I'm giving the margin bottom to 0. So the finally related post won't create unnecessary space at the bottom, and that's it for transforming these smaller parts for the page to Flexbox.